the sea, under the sea. Darling, it's better down where it's wetter. Take it from me. I'm on the shore, they work all day.
Hello, Ballycastle. This is Experimental Home Media, and I am Niall Caldwell, bringing you the debut edition of Close Up, our weekly podcast focusing on events in Ballycastle that are important to you. What better way is there to open a novel regional broadcast than with a review of a novel event? Ballycastle and Rathlin, Ireland have been proud hosts of the second Rathlin Sound Maritime Festival that has been sailing across the seven seas since the 24th of May and won't be dropping anchor till June the 2nd. The heart of the Causeway Coast and Glens extended a welcome for people to attend and celebrate all things maritime. On the itinerary was sailing regatta, food, crafts, markets, guided walks, exhibitions and demonstrations. The event has been hosted to celebrate the area's rich maritime history. The event opened in spectacular fashion, with Ballycastle being given the opportunity to pay homage to their majesties, the King and Queen of the Sea. But before they set off in leading the royal procession, they took a moment to discuss tactics with event organiser Paul Kerrigan. Paul is a man who has made a priceless contribution to recent community events in Ballycastle and seems to have that special touch in drawing a crowd. The Maritime Parade then kicked off with a procession down Market Street from the Diamond, to end, of course, at the sea. The centrepiece of the parade was a giant homemade octopus, rendered in exuberant greens and reds for the delight of children and fishermen alike. The slithery-looking creature had quite the reaction with the townsfolk, in that children would speed by to feel a tentacle or two, and a cloud of photographers, amateur and professional alike, pushed for the clearest view of Squidward's Irish cousin. Giant sea life may have been the main attraction of the parade, but there was a varied selection of other oddities in line for the patrons of all things maritime. We had a crowd of stilt-walking giants lumbering after the octopus and jeering with jovial expressions at the enthusiastic crowd. I assure you, these were not members of Ballycastle's basketball team, but simply members of the local community getting involved to create a family-friendly spectacle for our viewing pleasure. I wonder how they didn't get sunburned standing all the way up there. I got roasted. Pretty strange considering it was just about scraping 15 degrees. That's Northern Ireland for you. Remember, you can interact with Experimental Home Media, questions and experiences about our show by typing a comment under the YouTube video or under the links posted on Facebook. Now, following Squidward's overfed relative was Squidward, the man himself, Ballycastle's own resident squid being dragged along by a group of devoted strongman townsfolk. Now, you can't say our town doesn't put its back into these events. Hey, check out this guy in the pirate hat. I think he's breaking a sweat. Well, get along, little doggy. Or sea doggy. Whatever. Of course, we should not forget the main body of our parade. It was a group of fancy-dressed townies showing off the local spirit in all its colourful, flamboyant style that only the town of Ballycastle can ever pull off successfully. The festival was surely opened in style, and of course, concluding by the sea, where everyone put down their fish suits, pirate hats and Poseidon tridents to relax and enjoy the salt air in some very rarely occurring summer sun. The Saturday events began in a bit of a flourish, with the sun splitting the pavement and the townsfolk buzzing about with abundant summer cheerfulness. My first impression when arriving at the seafront was the big white marquee splodged in the middle of the green and surrounded by various stalls and food outlets. Enclosed within the marquee was the monthly Ballycastle market, where local traders flaunt their wares in the open air. I would particularly like to commend the products of Crafty Cakes, whose baked delights never disappoint, and I am personally a regular customer. I would further like to congratulate Broke Gammon Farm for their kid burgers, made entirely of goat's meat. I just adore them. Truly a great idea. Well done, lads. Last but certainly not least was the big lunch. It was an event encouraging people to congregate with friends and family and bring a picnic along with them. It literally was a big lunch. Meanwhile, representatives of the event distributed free bags of food and confectionery to the hungry public. While all this buzz was going on, there were some other interesting events to entice you into having ever more waterborne fun. This included one of the weirdest ideas I've ever heard of. Balance boards. They were surfboard-like contraptions, except that you steered it using an oar. This attracted a great amount of attention from the public, most likely due to its novelty. and the fact that they were offering an hour-long introductory lesson for only £10. The strangest thing about these balance boards was that they seemed incredibly stable in the water. This allowed easy steering, both sitting and standing upon them, as you can see from the three ladies in the photograph. I watched them at a point making the transition from sitting to their standing positions. In order to do this, they sort of sat on their hands and brought their feet under themselves and then stood up straight. All very graceful, until a lady shook the board harshly from side to side, and yet it did not topple. I just had to marvel at the balancing capabilities of these things. Pretty cool if I do say so myself. Remember, if you want to have a go on the balance boards, they'll be present on Ballycastle Beach for this Saturday only, so don't miss out on that opportunity. The main event of the festival has to be Ballycastle's annual sailing regatta, which consists of several boat races which include yachts and dinghies. The yachts were meant to sail on Friday. However, due to our atrocious weather conditions in the previous days, the boats were unable to complete their preparations in time to become waterborne. However, not to be deterred, they were able to prepare for the following day. The preparations included the not-so-safe tasks, such as mounting your ship's mast and dangling 40 or so feet above the sea, might I add, swaying back and forth in the wind. Not my cup of tea, but to each to his own. I was fortunate enough to be present whenever the first yachts made their triumphant entry back into Ballycastle Harbour after the regatta. I recorded the events as they happened. Hello, this is Niall Caldwell with Experimental Home Media. I have currently been investigating the Maritime Festival down here at Ballycastle Beach, and I am currently here out watching the yachts make their final approach into Ballycastle Harbour. The boats have been racing for the last 3 hours. There is approximately 1 hour left on the clock, which started from 10 o'clock until 2 o'clock. 3 or 4 boats, I think it was 4, and a speedboat have already passed through the harbour boundary. There are another 4 currently by the last dinghy. At the beach there are several things going on, including the Big Lunch, which is a charity-sponsored event where they are handing out crisps and other sweets and encouraging people to bring down their picnic and have family fun together. Other events are the market, which sells gourmet buns, as well as an example of Bushmills whiskey. People who tried the Bushmills whiskey appear to find it rather bitter, one such person describing it as blowing out their lungs. Beside it are things like demonstrations with cooking, which is done by Linus Food Services and Time & Co. Sticking with the marina theme, of course they are cooking seafood. Linus Food Services were conducting a demonstration about how to cook mussels in cider and cream sauce, followed by Time & Co. instructing on how to create a seafood chowder. The crowds could have been probably a bit better, but all in all, there is a festive atmosphere which will hopefully continue throughout the week. This is Niall Caldwell on the field for Experimental Home Media. And now, standing 7 feet tall and weighing just about the same as any normal-sized woman, was our local mermaid, sacrificing her fishy tail for a pair of wooden stilts. I got the chance to have a chat with her face to fins. Do you like the Maritime Festival?
It's lovely. It's been really, really interesting. Loads of really, really lovely stalls and nice people.
Have you seen many of the boats yourself?
I've seen a lot of hulls.
What's your name of your character here?
My name is Serena.
Are you like a mermaid or something?
You're not supposed to tell anybody.
Very good. Would you recommend people to come to the Maritime Festival?
Absolutely, it's really good fun.
After a tiring day of balance boarding and stilt walking, you must be feeling pretty hungry. Well, just walk over to the marquee where Emer Mullen from Time & Co Cafe has the solution for you with their seafood chowder demonstration.
Hi, I'm Emer and I'm from Time & Co in Ballycastle, and I came here today because I am surrounded with water and fish and thought, oh, I'm going to make chowder for Ballycastle.
What is chowder?
Soup, but it's made of seafood and fish, and people put potatoes or wine. Selection of seafood in a soup consistency.
Do you like it yourself?
I love chowder, it's really good. I think chowder is an excellent way of getting young ones to eat fish, and I think it should be more people should eat it.
Do you think the Maritime Festival's gone well today?
Oh, fantastic, yes. I think it should be held every year, and especially Ballycastles, and we're surrounded by local fish people.
Now that we are fed and watered, a Northern Irish festival would not be the same with what could be really our national mascot, the legendary giant Finn McCool. The Finn McCool demonstrators came all the way from the Giant's Causeway to delight and occasionally creep out the kids and adults alike. Forever the polite Irishman, Finn allowed time for a photo op with UUP councillor Sandra Hunter before the backdrop of our beloved seaside. No matter where you go in Northern Ireland, there was always a healthy competition between politicians. So independent councillor Padraig McShane and SDLP councillor Donald Cunningham thought they would lay down their differences from the council chamber and instead vote with their frying pans, squaring off in a public seafood cook-off. During the events, the two competitors concentrated on their work with a quiet intensity, which was punctuated with the flamboyant commentary of a certain photographer who had somehow attained the microphone. The winner was judged by the head chef of the newly opening Marine Hotel and event organiser Paul Kerrigan. Paul valiantly hobbled around, keeping things in order, even though he had previously damaged his toe earlier that day and was in considerable pain. I know what that feels like, Paul. I've ripped my back too. Still, you gotta do what you gotta do. I was able to speak with Councillor Cunningham about the events after it concluded.
So what do you think of the Maritime Festival so far?
I think it's wonderful. I think the organisers, both on the Ballycastles side and Rathlin side, have put a lot of effort and work into it. And I'm glad to see the crowds have rewarded them with a good attendance at their events.
What do you think of your own personal participation in the event?
I would rather not comment on that one, but I think I've scraped the draw, so I'm happy enough with that.
So you liked your own food?
Well, if a chef can't eat his own food, he can't eat anything. So.
Do you think it's going to happen again next year?
I look forward to next year's already. I think there's a lot of anticipation that this year's event is going to be successful and that we can build on that for next year and attract more funding from Northern Ireland Tourist Board, Fulch Ireland and other funding agencies.
The entertainment did not end with the day. A musical performance in the marquee from guests such as Bap Kennedy, Skerryvore and Mama Kaz finished the evening in a fitting manner. But of course, they had to provide a free supper at the event which contained, you guessed it, fish. I must say, I loved Mama Kaz. Her rough, almost frightful appearance starkly contrasted with her bellow-like blues voice, which she applied marvellously with several folk rock tunes. Her ability to get a crowd riled up exceeded that even of Bap Kennedy, who was more well known, and her stage presence was unrivaled. My favourite tune she played was her own debut song, Lipstick and Cocaine, in which she reflects how music allowed her to beat her cocaine addiction and change her life for the better. Well done, Kaz. I loved it so much, I bought her CD. Good stuff. Well, it's time for the ship to dock and the masts to be brought down on our show. However, the Maritime Festival continues, so make sure to get down there and take part in activities like the Curra Building, art exhibitions, and if you can, get over to Rathlin Island and support their goings on as well. Remember, you can have your opinion heard by commenting under the YouTube video or the links on Facebook. You can contact me personally with feedback on the show and ideas for future podcasts on Niall_Caldwell@yahoo.co.uk. That's Niall_Caldwell@yahoo.co.uk, or add me on Facebook or text me on 07701048885. That's 07701048885. A Twitter and a Facebook page will also be set up for experimental media if the show gets a good response. So please do listen, comment and get involved. I will now leave you with Oren Burns, a youth of Ballycastle, and his take on the festival. This is Experimental Home Media. I'm Niall Caldwell. Goodbye and have a good summer.
I actually really enjoyed the Maritime Festival, though some of the activities that they were offering could have been a lot more inclusive of the public and could have gotten a lot more people involved in them rather than the select few people that were involved. I did really enjoy Mama Kaz and all the performances that were on at the seafront. I thought a lot of them were class, and I do think they could have had a lot more activities that were free there to draw more people in, to get more money into the town sort of thing. They did not have enough people involved in the whole organising and whole entertaining sort of aspect of it. They could have had a lot more into it. Salmon exhibition, to put it very simply, was very lacking. There was not anything there. It was bad. Balance boards were very interesting. In fact, I'd like to do them next weekend. I really wanted to have a go at them. They looked awesome crack. I would recommend going. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.